Vikings, often seen as savage warriors, have a surprising and misunderstood legacy. But did you know they weren't just fierce fighters? Let's dive into the untold aspects of Viking life and how their legacy still impacts us today. You've probably heard of the Vikings as warriors, but what if I told you their true story goes far beyond battles and bloodshed? Today, we're uncovering unexpected truths about Viking society, culture, and how their understanding of time holds a lesson we all need to hear. Did you know the Vikings didn't start as warriors? They started as people. People with no other choice. Our story begins with a young leader named Ragnar, living in the unforgiving cold of early Scandinavia. That he isn't a legend yet. Not a raider, not even a fighter, just a man trying to keep his people alive, one brutal winter at a time. The Vikings didn't even call themselves that at first. They were Germanic tribes pushed north by war and famine, settling in a land so wild and cold that most would have turned back. Scandinavia, biting winds, frozen soil, endless nights. Why live there? Because no one else wanted it. It was some of the worst land in Europe, rocky, cold, and barely able to grow crops. Hunger became a constant shadow. Hope began to die. Ragnar watched the young go hungry, the old fade away. He buried friends in ground too frozen to dig. But the population kept growing. Something had to change. Then, one day, it did. The elders gathered in silence. If we don't find more, we'll vanish. And so Ragnar made a choice, not to conquer, but to sail. He built longships, fast, sleek, nearly silent, not for war, but for trade, for survival. He set off toward the Daugava River, modern-day Latvia, chasing only rumors and hope. Ragnar and his crew carried their ship across land when the river ended, dragging it over rocks, roots, and frozen earth. It was brutal. But they kept going. They reached the Volga River, then the Caspian Sea, and eventually Persia. Imagine that. A Viking who grew up scraping frozen soil, now standing in Persian markets, overwhelmed by color, language, and light. He saw silk, spices, algebra, medicine, philosophy. The Vikings? They had stone carvings. Persia had universities. Ragnar walked those streets like a ghost. And deep inside, something shifted. We are not what we could be, he thought. That he returned home, not just richer, but changed. But trade wasn't always enough. Merchants mocked them. Supplies ran short. Winters returned. And so, Ragnar changed again. The longships, once cradles of hope, now carried axes. They raided, not for power, not for conquest, but for bread, for fire, for life. The world called them savages. But they were survivors. That's how the world came to fear the name Viking. A name not born of glory, but of desperation. Still, what made the Vikings truly extraordinary wasn't just their raids. It was how they used their time. They lived every day like it might be their last. Whether crafting weapons, telling stories, or sailing into the unknown, every moment mattered. They balanced survival with legacy. They carved myths into stones, built ships that could glide through rivers like shadows, and they passed down not just tools, but values. Values we forget today. Because in our world, procrastination is easy. Wasting time is normal. But for the Vikings, wasting time was deadly. Let's pause our Viking tale. Once, in a small town, there lived a boy, lazy, always procrastinating. His parents begged him to study. His teachers warned him, but he kept wasting time. Then one day, a wise monk came to town. People lined up to meet him. So did the boy. He said, "Master, I'm failing in life. My friends are ahead of me. Please help me surpass them." The monk replied, "You are suffering because you do not value your time. Let me tell you a story. Once upon a time, a generous king met his old classmate, a man now poor, jobless, and bitter. The man said, 'No one will hire me. They say I'm lazy.' The king smiled. 'Come to my treasury before sunset. Take as much gold and gems as you can. It'll all be yours.' The man was thrilled. He ran home. His wife said, 'Go now.' But he replied, 'I'm hungry. Lunch first.' After eating, he felt sleepy. 'I'll rest for a bit.' He thought. He slept for 2 hours, waking up late. He grabbed his bags and headed to the palace, but it was hot. He rested under a tree. He fell asleep again for 4 more hours. When he woke up, it was almost sunset. That he ran toward the palace, but arrived too late. The gates were shut. His chance was gone. The monk finished his story. The boy was silent, ashamed that he had learned. Time is everything. Waste it, and you lose your future. Respect it, and you gain the world. From that day, the boy changed. He worked hard, respected his time, and became successful. He surpassed not just his friends, but himself in both stories. One of Ragnar, the Viking, and one of the boy. We find the same truth. Time is life. A minute can make or break your fate. Ask the traveler who missed his train by 1 minute. Ask the student who failed because he missed one exam. Time waits for no one. Use it, and you rise. Waste it, and you fall. So, let's recap. Vikings weren't just warriors. They were survivors, storytellers, explorers, and masters of time. And in that lesson, we find our own. What was the most powerful part of this story for you? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you're ready to uncover more forgotten stories of strength, survival, and truth, check out the next video. You won't want to miss it.